Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for the final time to the TaKeTV studio here in Germany, in Krefeld. And I am joined on the couch by the entire roster, besides one, of the Method team. It has been the silver medal this time. The Kings have been dethroned, but we still have a lot of smiles on the faces here. And I think we should do a little roll call with the guys to see who we've got.
Just wait here.
Roger Brown. Mr. Echoing Void.
Also Mr. Echoing Void. Nogi.
Narcolis. Maris, the second Echoing Void.
Everyone has a title.
Perfecto.
Curry, so Shadow Priest, no corruption.
Let's go.
And Gingy.
We have the whole team here, minus Scripe, who we are sure is on his way. But of course, as we wrap up this event, we do want to get the guys' ideas and thoughts about what happened during the race, how they feel about it now, and maybe what the next steps are. And also the fun moments of Roger smashing his own chair. I mean, it's not your chair, bro.
I mean, at some point, when you do so much DPS in game, you gotta take it in real life as well. Had to pump it somewhere, you know?
Do you carry with you like a damage meter piece of paper and scribble your numbers in?
Yeah, I have a notepad where I have all my notes. Echoing Void, severe. That's it.
It's got to be a lot of fun. So I think we should throw it to
Hang on
Scott
a second,
first.
Preach. I just got to cut you off for a second there, because if we're talking about people falling off chairs, Curry, what happened?
I don't know. The chair wasn't strong enough. What can you do?
Chair just wasn't strong enough.
That actually gave us all a shock during one of our better tries. Like, we were just all playing, and then there was a massive loud thump. And, and then there's like the hand.
Well, let's throw a question over to you then, Sko. Obviously, second place. Nobody here plays at all for second place. So what is your thoughts on how the race went?
It's a tough question, actually. I mean, obviously, we were extremely disappointed to come second. It actually kind of felt pretty bad from the beginning for me personally, because obviously with limit streaming, you can see how far, you know, they're ahead in the raid. And so it constantly felt like we were raiding from behind, which I think definitely, it definitely affected my motivation, and I guess you could say a little bit, feeling that we're always behind limit. I was hoping we were going to be able to catch up, hopefully on like the last two bosses, if they were really, really difficult, especially with it being the last raid of the expansion. I expected, you know, the last two bosses to be like real, like roadblocks. To see Carapace go down, you know, so quickly, that was a concern for sure. And then obviously in the Zoth, he was also less than a 300 pool boss, and so it was very difficult for us to catch back up from being behind, obviously from the get-go. So that was really tough. I just wish the last two bosses had been a little bit harder, because that's when we get a chance to shine. Normally, is when the bosses are a little bit, you know, a little bit harder, a little bit more complex. But yeah, it sucks to lose for sure. And we're going to do whatever it takes to reclaim the throne come Shadowlands. So,
You hear that, Roger? Whatever it takes. You're out. Now, I do want to get maybe a show of hands from these guys. Who enjoys the N'alotha fight? As expected. So a big part of the, interesting enough, to talk about motivation before we get onto N'alotha itself, is I noticed in all you guys, because obviously we've casted the races several times, is as soon as Limit killed it, you guys were so much happier. And it was strange to see like how much of a load seemed to be lifted from you guys after that point. Like, certainly Gingy was, like, you were laughing and joking so much after that. Like, did it free you guys up a little bit? Like,
I mean, I was mostly hiding my pain somehow, but it is true that on the day that they were getting consistent, like 5% wipes, 3% wipes, the atmosphere when we were eating dinner at the TaKeTV studios was not as good as it was when they finally killed it, because there was obviously a big relief. Like, now it's official, we've lost, instead of hoping for that slim chance of winning. So definitely felt better after we lost, even though it sucks, of course. But I mean, we know in Method exactly what we need to do for Shadowlands, and I'm sure that we're gonna take the number one spot back again for next time.
Yeah, for sure. It was almost nice to see the mood change, because obviously Method's used to coming in. US has had this whole day head start. You guys walk in, beat the US by about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and then you take the lead. So maybe we could throw this to Mirez, because he's looking really like nervous that I'm going to ask him a question. It was a weird position to see Method behind for the whole race. That's not something we're used to dealing with at all. So how was it in the team when it was not getting caught up? I kind of want to throw it at Fabo because he's like, should we ask Fabo this one?
Wait, what was the question?
We didn't see that moment where Method kind of pulled ahead, which we're used to seeing every single race. US does get this head start. Then you guys come in, you stomp. Lady Ashvane would be the perfect example, right? US kills 3 bosses, and then Method comes in. Every guild's stuck at Ashvane, and by 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon, Noggy's soaking all the bubbles in the world, speed potting around, and you guys killed it and moved on. But we didn't see that this time. Was it an awkward position for you guys, or was it very unusual that maybe affected performance?
I mean, I think it was more like awkward for us to, at least it felt for me like we played really like weak on the first bosses, which is kind of a normal thing, but like it felt for me even worse than usually. So I was like immediately concerned, because obviously if you don't like catch up immediately, you just fall even further behind. And then like most of our people kept saying, yeah, the next days will be better, we will catch up, we will catch up. And I'm like always really pessimistic in that regard, like I'm already negative, and then, oh yeah, we are even more behind. We are even more behind. And then like you have people like Gingy, bro, Fao, don't be like this. We will catch up on Zoth. We will also have this good tries. They will not kill it, they will choke again. And I'm like already saying to my stream, yeah, I think we will lose. And then like on these days, I have to always act like nice in TeamSpeak so they don't call me out for negative attitude. Yeah, guys, we can kill the boss. The Limit will not pull ahead. And then like when Limit finally killed, I was like, okay, now they realized we lost. I don't have to fake my enthusiasm anymore.
I hope you didn't go, aha, I told you so.
Nah, but I think they knew.
It is difficult for all of you guys, and I kind of want to take you to the most fun boss that I got to cast, which was football. And it was a great cast for us, but watching your pain for about 4 hours was, now I've experienced it myself, that's pretty rough. That's pretty rough, but maybe going a little bit around the room, what was the most frustrating boss you guys dealt with? Let's exclude N'Zoth for this one, because he's kind of on his own. But let's throw it to Narco, because you were in for nearly everything. Oh, please do.
Well, it was in Sanish, right? And we had a kill try, and then Lorgok messed it up once, and he wiped it. So the next time we got a kill try, and it was his turn, he did the call on TeamSpeak. I don't believe in myself. Someone else take it.
And who was the hero?
Well, yeah, Mini was the hero that took over for him. So that was the first time I have seen Lorgok not be confident in his own abilities, actually.
Well, to be fair, he had just witnessed the officer team fail continuously for a good 40 minutes. True? Truers in the chat right now. And you know what was funny? Because we obviously got to see all your points of views. If it was one of the members who messed up, they were like... But when their team made that mistake, they were up. There was like a little NASA meeting. They stood around the VOD. They're like, this is impossible. Like, we can't possibly mess this up.
See the reverse angle of that. Like, you know, I need to see the replays. Something was off. There's no way.
Yeah, and Roger also complained that the boss was in his face, that he couldn't really aim, so like Narco had to move the boss away. The worst excuses ever, yeah? And I was just standing there looking at my PC, going closer to the screen, finding the line, and just AFKing. I don't know. I didn't have a problem.
The best thing, I was with him and Roger and Scripe, and like I was the last guy to shoot, and like I go to the position where I think Scripe will shoot it to, so I can finish, and like then he misses the ball. Bro, I looked at you, and like you didn't go where I thought you would go, so I adjusted. It's your fault that I failed. Like, and I'm like, dude, you just failed it. Why? Like whenever Scripe fucks something up, then I'm getting flamed.
Is not to care about what anyone else does. Only focus on your shot, and it goes way better. If you start caring about others, then you'll fail it 100%.
Well, the best part of it is as soon as you guys called break time, every one of the member of the team came to me individually, especially this guy here. Which team's got the hardest shot? You're watching them all. Which team's got the...
I mean, honestly, mine, I was pretty much blind when I was taking my first shot, yeah? Because there's so much stuff in the corner. So then I figured out how to counter it by backpedaling into my position. After that, it was pretty easy. But it's hard to tell, unless you're watching the POV of someone else, how hard their shot is. So, I mean, you be the judge.
I am the judge because I watched it after you told me about this, and that is absolute BS. Because we watched you backpedal in a wide open room. It was like being in here and you're like lining it up all of those moments. But besides Zanesh, which obviously was about 4 hours of doing that, and then eventually went down. What was the boss that was maybe the most fun or the most frustrating? Let's go to Narco.
Most frustrating was definitely Ilganov. The spells, like we had like a weak aura, and if it would blow up on someone else, then it would say like they were fake, right? Yeah. And then the healers didn't notice that unless you told them. So then they dispelled, and then the entire raid just died. And it happened like so many times. So we fixed it eventually, and then the boss was easy after that, I guess. Most fun? Carapace, because yeah, Divine Storm King. That's all I'm gonna say. And then I died on the kill, and I got sad. I got so sad.
Narco just decided on the kill of Carapace after the first mechanic last phase. He doesn't need to play with this anymore. He just lay down and enjoy the kill. Yeah, he was just
the boss ran over a thing, dude. I got instant one clap.
like, I don't know.
Jesse.
I'm going to go the opposite of what Narco said. For me, the most crushing boss was coming in and seeing Carapace dead. I had thought that would be a hard boss. I had thought that it would be a wall. Everyone who made predictions before the tier thought, if it's like Dragon Soul, then this will be a hard boss. This will be difficult, strategic. It'll overwhelm you. You'll need a lot of gear. And to see it just flop was extremely demoralizing before I even pulled it once.
Are you suggesting that you were hoping for a spine of Deathwing?
I would rather a spine than what actually happened.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Well, we all know how Skull gets on Spine of Deathwing, don't we?
Any Hanks?
So I've got a slightly different question, and that is, what was the most triumphant moment in the raid? And I want to throw this over to whoever wants to take it, because Scott, for you in particular, I remember watching your reactions to each kill, and a lot of the time you were quite stone cold, but after Carapace died, you stood up, and that seemed like it meant something.
It wasn't really that it meant something. It was just that I was on the last percent or so, I was dead on Carapace. So I was just watching the HP go down. We had only a few members of the raid alive, and so it was really clutch whether we were going to get the kill or not. And for some reason, it felt like it was in slow motion, because when I watched the Twitch clip back afterwards, it was only like a few seconds. But when I was actually watching it, seeing if we were going to get the kill, it felt like time would slow down. And so when we actually got it, that's when I jumped up. That's actually probably the most reaction I had to any of the kills we actually did in the raid. But it wasn't necessarily because it was like a moment of triumph or anything. If I have to be honest, I didn't really get too many moments of triumph in this raid, because like I said, it always felt like we were behind. We weren't really achieving anything exceptional, I guess. We weren't achieving anything world first, so it was hard to get excited about a lot of the stuff. Yeah, especially because in N'Zoth as well, it's not one of my favorite fights we've ever done. So yeah. And I'm glad to see that our glorious raid leader has finally showed up. Hello, Scripe.
Well, let's throw that same question to Scripe then, as you've just appeared. What do you feel has been the most triumphant moment in the raid?
Triumphant for us?
Oh, it's so sad.
Didn't happen, dude.
No.
Not this time.
Well, next time then, right?
I hope, yeah.
So nobody has anything triumphant?
I mean, it looked like Roger Brown had several triumphant moments throughout the tier, to be honest. I mean, I was sitting there and I can see what's going on in the main method stream the whole time, out the corner of my eye. Roger Brown had some epic reactions, epic celebrations. Yeah.
I did try to hide my emotions as best as I could. But what can I say? I mean, when you open the chest and you see that gun, that beautiful...
Oh, sweet baby salvation.
I mean, what can I do? At some point, just... you keep it inside, and then it just bursts out. That's it.
It was confidence inspiring to see Roger make a lap around the room, giving everyone a high five, saying, we won, because he got something out of his box.
Yeah, maybe a little premature call on that one, yeah.
Is this true, Roger? You've been complaining, whining during progress?
I mean, I've been using the same bow since the previous progression first week, so it was about time.
It was a gun, by the way. It wasn't even a bow.
It was a gun, but quickly transmogged into the legendary bow, so
Well, now Scripe is here. We can kind of throw this question at him, because while you weren't here, Scripe, the guys were not talking too favorably about your Zanesh progress. And Fabo pointed out that when you messed it up, in fact, it was his fault. Would you kind of can you explain that to us who maybe don't have that strategic mind that you carry, how you missing the ball completely is Fabo's fault?
Okay. So, without getting too much into it, it's
This is a battle now.
basically if you trust the other person will do his job, then you can just focus on your own job. But when he fucks up once, then you can't focus on your own job. You need to think for him as well. That's pretty much it.
I just want to point out that Scribe and Roger failed in my group equally or even more than me the shots. So don't blame that on me.
I think you've just been officially declared as untrustworthy raider. All I got from that is that we need to make it as simple with crayons with Fabo.
I can't trust him in leading me to victory anymore either. I mean, we can go that road down as well, yeah.
Well, I guess we do have to address the elephant in the room, and now Scribe's here, maybe we can talk about it. We did see you make some sort of call, is that Limit has changed the face of how this is now operated. And the rather, I read it as rather sad, is that the consideration might be up there as the last tier as a player that you put out there. And do you think now that Limit has used this coaching style, is that going to be it going forward in some form? Maybe not yourself, you know, as somebody else coming in, or is that something you think is the next logical step for everybody? Or is it too early to say?
It is definitely too early to say anything really, but probably that is going to be the route. And that is the thing we already knew, like we've already seen this. We knew this is going to be quite OP, but nobody wanted to do the job. And we didn't have to win, so why do it, you know? Just enjoy the game. But now that we lost because of it, at least that's my opinion, that we lost because of it, we have to do it. Otherwise, if we lose again, and nobody likes losing, we don't play to lose. So we will probably do it in some form.
And it is something that's not necessary on every single boss, because I think most of the raiders were quite sad to lose, you know, to know maybe that Scribe's not playing anymore and actually enjoy having you in the raid. Maybe not Fabo, I don't know. Maybe he's not like that. Let's move on to something a little bit more technical, is the power of BOEs in this raid. Mirez, you had the wonderful experience of swapping characters and waking up to a literal box full of goodies for you. So maybe you're the best to address on this BOE situation and the hundreds of millions of gold that have been spent by the guilds just to compete, and maybe your thoughts on it.
Yeah, it was like for me it was pretty decent. I have two geared characters now with BOEs, yeah. But obviously, like rerolling was I don't know. It was actually pretty easy, I would say, this year, because we already thought ahead how you can actually swap characters, and we stored a lot of gear on other characters from the heroic splits, which meant like Nogi had on his hunter had basically a full Azerite set for another hunter ready. I logged in, I trade him, I see 6 items in the trade window, I go to the guild bank, I click on 2 corrupted items, basically character is geared, yeah. And then you maybe get some loot from Roger as well, like snacking his mythic loot, and then it was perfect. And I didn't even use it. No, but in general, obviously the BOEs were like really, in my opinion, really bad, especially how it got handled. And the sudden change with the Echo Voids that we expected after they posted it was kind of scary. I'm not gonna lie. I also spent like 1.5 million gold on Void Ritual Ring right after they announced it, because it was basically like 5% to our raid damage, right? It was around 5% what the nerf would have been. So I don't know, it was really bad actually. And now next week, everyone who bought Void Ritual and spent a lot of gold on it, I'm sorry for everyone.
It's a little bit scary how this has gone for more of the casual player base. Maybe we could throw it over to Team Bench, although we did end up with a couple more this side. But I have something else for you. Is Perfecto, actually. It's as far as I know, the first End World boss that we didn't see you participate on, that I recall.
Yeah, I think so.
And was that, did you hate Scripe for that, or did you see it coming?
Actually. I mean, I didn't agree with the decision, obviously, but I had to do it. I still don't think it was a good decision, but I mean, it is what it is, yeah.
And you're
it's the first
okay with it,
expansion since CAT, I think, that we're going into, like it's a new expansion, like Shadowlands, that we're going into, we're not world first, yeah. Like it's been a decade, literally, we're going to an expansion, we're doing all the prep, we're going to gold first. Now we're gold second, we're like catching up, we're trying to catch up, yeah? We didn't catch up the entire tier. They will catch up next year, I don't know.
Oh, I think so. I mean, there's always the saying that no king rules forever, right? I mean, there's a reason that is a saying. And we asked the question, is like, did some of you come into this maybe a bit too comfortable? You know, you expect to win. I can see Sko smirking, like, yeah, easy game, easy life. But how do you feel now it's kind of the frustration settled down?
I mean, honestly,
And,
I don't even think so.
But now you have something to chase.
I don't even think so that we came in too comfortably. Yeah? We all, well, most of us, we spent an entire week in islands trying to get 80, right? We did a lot of prep for this raid, and I don't even feel that we played exceptionally bad. We didn't play well, but we didn't play bad. Like, I played bad before. I know what it is like. Like, we played bad in Heimwall. We lost to Paragon back then. So we know how it is to, like, lose a tier and say, okay, we played awful. We need to, like, look at ourselves and, like, change something. We didn't even play bad. We just never caught up to limit, yeah? Just never did. I don't know why.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, from my point of view, and I said this several times through our cast, is there was no massive blunders that I saw. There was no, standout where this is like the guys are screwing us up. Like Zakul, we could talk about last year. Like Zakul last year was a bit of a mess. Like we were there all day, and the frustration was prevalent in the room, but not really anything like that. It just didn't seem like we could get that high gear of exceptional performance where bosses were just falling over. Do you feel the same way about that, Gingy? It's like overall the team played well.
Like I said, I don't think we played any worse than we normally do. I feel like where Limit got the edge was having the outside help. With the timers. Every time we need to do a timer, we need to wait for Just Wait, who's also a player. Every time we need a Weegar, if we have Naga in or Maris in, we need to wait for that to happen. When we need to figure out certain strategies or whatever, we need to sit there and have discussions. So the amount of downtime we have in between polls, like with the break meme and stuff, is because we have to wait for these things. So Limit can just have these guys outside, and also the raid leading and the overview becomes better, because if you're not focusing on your own gameplay, it becomes that much better. For a fight like Ilginov, it was perfect having Roger outside. You just noticed how much better overview you have, and have that work to Limit's advantage. And it is the new meta, it seems like. We have to do it as well in order to compete. For sure.
Yeah, and probably a good point to bring Noggy in here, obviously coming down to the event, is you had all sorts of stuff prepared for in case there was any mega technical weak auras that needs to be done. You had this all set up. But this was a raid that wasn't particularly technical in terms of preparation for that. And did you feel like you did all this work for nothing, or were you hoping for something more?
I mean, of course, it feels bad. We had a lot of stuff prepared, a lot of really good stuff. And I had two people, namely Grimonja, one of my long-term mods, and Radux, who also helps me on Method Dungeon Tools, who helped me with a lot of the preparation for weak hours and stuff for this tier. And also they did most of the weak hours during the race. It wasn't actually me, so I can play. So that was the whole point of it. So it kind of feels bad that we couldn't like flex our muscles there and win, because we have better preparation in that regard. Although I have to say, Limit also picked up a really good weak aura guy in Relo. It's also from Germany. But so shout out to him as well. But yeah, it kind of feels sad. But I think for the overall health of the game, it's a good thing that the game doesn't rely too much on weak auras. I don't know if I've said this to many people, but on Ilginov, I think the weak aura actually, we shouldn't have used it. I think that is a boss where you have to just look at, okay, I can dispel that guy and just dispel him. And I think Blizzard baited us pretty hard there. And, well, hats off to them. I think we should have played that boss without a weak aura, and it would have been easier for us.
I actually, as one of the guys dispelling, I actually agree with Nagi there, because not only was it much more fun on Ilganov when the weak aura broke or whatever, and Josh or Potter made the call, hey, don't use the weak aura, we're just going to dispel with our eyes and play like humans. That was obviously way more fun. Looking around at the room, seeing that one small, I'm going to get that one in 3 seconds, that one small, I'm going to get that one in 3 seconds. But it also felt like we were more invested in more making it work better, and we got to late phases fairly well doing that, and I think that maybe it would have been better than trying to rely on a weak aura that inevitably had issues, like some other guys said, where it would make a false positive and you couldn't trust it, but you weren't in the zone of looking with your eyes, and so an entire wave would go undispelled and then you would fall behind.
Yeah, or you just don't dispel it at all, as Alpha demonstrated quite easily. And we're now seeing guilds kill that in like 10 pulls without any issue whatsoever. I think it's good because we kind of close down about the positives here. Save the Children. We had the Humanitarian Award presented to Dire for over $100,000. Something we never expected to see happen. We got nearly $40,000, I think, this time as well. So thank you to everybody who did that and all the silly things you had us doing, including stuffing our faces with marshmallows. Thanks very much for that. But all worth it in the end. That's got to be a big positive to take away regardless, Esco.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, over the course of the last few Race to World First events, we've indeed raised over $100,000 for Save the Children, which is absolutely amazing. Like that in itself is obviously a huge win for everyone involved. It's one of the coolest things I've ever been involved in, for sure. It's really great to see how the Race to World First events have taken off. This event we've just done is actually the best event in terms of viewership that we've actually ever done. So it's great to see there's still a lot of growth there with the Race to World First, especially now with Limit winning this event too. It definitely is going to lead to a lot of healthy competition in Shadowlands. There's going to be a lot of hype. So I'm very excited to see where it's going. It's great to see the raiding community picking up again over BFA. I'm very excited for the future in general.
Scott, I think it is just about getting to that time where we need to wrap up the show now, but I believe there is something that you want to talk about or maybe tease coming up very, very soon.
Yeah, so in line with the community-driven Race to World First events, what we're doing with Method now is that we're actually launching the Method 24/7 channel on Twitch. So the Method channel from now on should be online 24/7 all year round, and that's going to have a bunch of different things on it, like tournaments, like World of Warcraft community-based tournaments, so PvP, Arena, maybe some Mythic MDI stuff, maybe some more like raid stuff, like raid races, stuff like that. It's going to have some podcast segments on it, like weekly podcast shows. A lot of unique shows actually is what we want to try and achieve on the channel. Boxing match. Gingy.
I am so in.
He keeps trying to bait me into like a Gingy versus Skull boxing match. I don't know why.
It might be related to
push-up competition. It might be related to him losing the push-up contest twice. But yeah, the 24/7 channel is going to have a lot of guest streamers on it as well, of course, from the Method roster, but maybe some outside stuff too. We've been working on this quite hard in the background for the last few months. It should be launching obviously straight after this show. Over time, it's going to take us a little bit of time to ramp up and get a lot more original content out there. So stay tuned on that. But very excited for what we've got going on there.
No, that sounds really cool, especially you've got such a wide array. And it was one of the most difficult things we dealt with when we did the level 60 event, is trying to tell people that if they're World of Warcraft fans, Method is just a guild. But Method now actually encompasses so many different games, so many different personalities from all over the place. And it's still growing every single day with new teams joining it and adding to it. So I think if we are going to wrap up, I'd like to go around everybody, because Just Wait's not said anything yet, and I'm sure you noticed. Well, you don't give us comms. Maybe next time we can have something to do with that. But I would like to know, what was the fun moment that we didn't catch because we didn't have access to comms throughout the event? We obviously had the Lorgok story from Gingy, but anything you'd like to make the audience aware of that is going on in the background there?
I think it's going to be the NZOT progress. I think yesterday, it was. The first time I think I saw Scripe actually tilt this progress is when he took the gateway back into the pools. I think that was the first time Scribe actually got mad.
I was gonna say the exact same thing. Like he was all calm, just raid leading as normal. Yep. Then all of a sudden he took a portal that led to the wrong place, and he just freaked out on the voice cops.
Yep.
Actually, I was like, whoa, I don't want to be a Warlock right now. Yeah, I think all the Warlocks are looking at the portal and like.
And then Kush is trying to defend himself. Yeah, Kush was trying to defend himself, saying, "But this gateway is perfect. It leads right where we want to go." But yeah, he placed it next to another one that everyone else wants to take, so mistakes were made.
What am I supposed to say about it? No, it wasn't funny, dude.
It was the day, Scribe, but what was your fun moment throughout the raid that we didn't catch because we were obviously looking the outside?
I think it was not just one moment, but one thing. We demoted Lorgok last year because he had very bad prep and he was like really not focusing on the game. He was just listening to music all day. I became a meme even, and this time he was actually listening to us, and he started talking to us, and he started making memes all the time. It was so funny, every time, and with this Italian accent, it was great, man. That was my best moments.
I feel like it was the first time you met Lorgok.
All right, me. I mean, it wasn't again one moment, but if anyone was watching one of our streams and it had in-game sounds, they might have noticed that on N'Zoth, N'Zoth, okay, N'Zoth, yeah. When the mind gate opens and you have to go into the other realm to kill the Psychers, there is a particular sound of a phone ringing. And then whenever it was my group's turn to go, I would always be like, oh guys, one sec, the president is calling. Oh, we gotta go, guys, let's go. and then every try, I had to come up with something new. And then you always had the reaction of the team like, please stop. It's over. That's it.
That is the worst raid story I've ever heard. Doggy.
My favorite moment of the raid was probably when I realized I obviously played Blood on Il'gynoth for the short AMS. Yeah, I didn't play it there, but I had 2 Echoing Void pieces, and I was like, how can I get more? Because I was maxed out on my BOE slots. For plate, it's obviously hands and the ring, and the ring is unique equipped, so you can't have 2 of them. So I was like, how can I get more Echoing Void, man? I got really unlucky, got no Echoing Void, and I was like, it hit me. I was like, I don't care about strength. I just equipped these cloth legs. And then I did that, and it worked. And you did 6 DPS with that. Like, now they're nerfing it, but I don't know. They really messed up with the BOEs and the corruption effects on them. I hope they never do something like this again. But that was definitely my favorite moment.
I do want to point out, as you said, it worked fine, is that it did not work fine at all, and you died instantly and unequipped it, like straight after.
No, that was on Carapace. That's when I was like pushing it, because I was playing on Il'gynoth. I was playing with the Clawflex. That was a total of 93 corruption, I think. And then we went to Carapace, and I was like, I'll just keep playing this. And I was like, how can I get more? Oh, we have this mail build here. So I equipped that as well. That pushed me to 128 corruption. And after one pull, I think Scripe said, no, not happening. I died like, I think, twice in one pull instantly. Like, that was way too much. It's almost so big. But yeah, that was the favorite moment.
Mine is fighting the thing from beyond, dude. Like, that guy was... dude, he spawns... Where? Hodge! Okay, I'm good. Okay, next one. And then you can keep going. That was it. That's my favorite thing, dude.
I think my favorite TeamSpeak moment was every time Jimmy was talking and you could hear the swords from the Vigara, from the thing from beyond Vigara in the background, and sometimes you hear the ting, ching, ching, and then, oh no, triple, yeah? And then you see him fly away. And another really fun thing was yesterday when he linked a clip where he got linked because Pablo was bugged in the inside face on the Zorf. And he was linked with him like super far away, and you can see the Demon Hunter just fly and like Mario jump around the thing. And I was like, bro, what class is he playing? Like, he was playing another game than me. Like, I was standing there chilling, like walking around a little bit as BM Hunter, and he was just flying somewhere. I don't know, yeah. I think that he, of course, is Demon Hunter. Fabo died. Yeah. No, but I think that was the best moment, yeah, when you could hear Jimmy talk and you hear the things from beyond just spawn left, right, center.
Yeah, mine was definitely either when Scripe raged against Kush, and like you see me, because I play with high sensitivity, I got really shocked, so I moved my mouse so fast, I did a full 360 with the camera, and people clipped like how I was genuinely scared in that moment, worse than any horror movie. Or like when Kurizo fell down, because he sits exactly opposite of me, and we have like one of our best tries ever, and I just see him flopping, waving, and I'm like fully flipping out, laughing, and I just see like Meres next to me, fully serious, progressing second phase, and I'm just laughing 24/7. And okay, we vibed anyway over.
My favorite moment was actually during Heroic Week, the first time we pulled the Zoth. There were some people had problems clicking on their character to get out of the below zone, and apparently if you jumped it was easier, but I didn't know that at the time. It was our very first pull. I had clicked on my body fine. I was up in a Zoth. I was Crusader Strike, Holy Shock, Crusader Strike, Holy Shock, and then I hear Scripe say, "Everybody jump!" and there's a clip at me of just spamming my spacebar button. I instantly start jumping. I'm like, I'm mouse over my D-bus. Why am I jumping? I'm mouse over my, why am I jumping? I don't know why I'm jumping, but Scripe said jump. And now there's a clip on my stream that says when Scripe says jump, Jute says how high. Because you can hear me spamming my spacebar button. I had no idea why.
But honestly, I'm not gonna lie. I don't think there was any fine moments from this team.
Someone get the violin.
Maybe the corruption system was the finest thing for me. I mean, that's it, yeah.
Well, I don't know. I didn't really see that much of progression, but I think in general, like Zanesh was pretty funny. Seeing Fabo shit himself every single pull. Like, oh my god, my heart. And Lorgok, huh? You did do it. And then Lorga shitting himself. Yeah, it was pretty funny.
Yeah, so there was definitely that Lorgok moment on Zanesh indeed, and there was also the Scripe moment on Zoth. But other than that, I think Roger Brown's reactions just throughout the race, the passion he has for the game, it's amazing to see, especially, you know, with the chair kick today as well. It's just, I mean...
Yeah, I agree. Like the Lorgok memes was top notch this year, and also Roger's reactions for sure.
Well, let's hope we can take part in it ourselves a little bit next time and try and work something out there. Because, of course, the audience demands and cries out is that we do want to hear you guys having fun while you're raiding, especially in this kind of environment. So it's something we all look forward to. Now, I think it is time to wrap up, unfortunately, folks. This tier is over. We'll have to go home, think about what to do. Scripe, any final words as the guild kind of wraps up towards Shadowlands as to what's coming up?
Final words would be, I think, that the next race is going to be really interesting. Like, really, really interesting. I don't even know what's going to happen. It's going to be really exciting for me as well, and for the viewers as well, I think. That's it.
I think Yunus will like the coaching role. I think it fits him good.
And they'll also be asking why there's so many pizza boxes in that officer room of yours. It was weird seeing you guys like clean your room every morning. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for sticking with us for nearly 2 weeks of the world first race. Another one is in the books. It is the silver medal this time for these guys, but they're not giving up, of course. And next time we come back, it should be that first place, yes? Of course. You will. We'll see you in Shadowlands. $40,000 raised for the kids. A lot of raiding done, a lot of things seen. Thank you very much for everything, and thank you to everybody here for taking part in the event.